Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm Ziv, and this is On the Journey. Every week on the journey explores the intersections of wellness, spiritual inquiry, mental health, personal growth, and purposeful living through the eyes of the people we interview. Kimberly, I'd love to hear about your journey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Ziv. And my journey began from a series of burnout. So I started out after college, after studying psychology, I went for law school. So I stayed there for a year and I've I cherish the moments with people there. It's just that the environment is a bit high pressured. So I feel that at that point it was really at the maximum what people expect of me, but more than what other people expect. It's funny because now looking back in retrospect, it seems that, and it is that, the pressure is coming from within. So it's that expectation from myself that, oh, I have to be this, or I should reach this certain goal, or have to be a lawyer to be worthy, or maybe to be able to impact lives. So the practice, which has led me to the practice of meditation and of yoga. So there's a yoga studio near our school, so I would go there every so often. And what how it began is I would just try it out. And it's funny because when I was a younger child also, I would observe my father. He would do a few twists before he sleeps at night. So I think that was my first exposure of yoga. And then I kind of forgot about it until that period wherein I felt that the pressure was really building up. And it was a matter of, okay, this is all about career. How do I go about my life? And at that moment, the practice of yoga and meditation allowing me to zone in the present moment and noticing how it was feeling in my body. That was pretty interesting because before I would just think, maybe I just lack sleep. That's why I would have headaches. Or maybe, probably like, I didn't eat enough yet, or not, I didn't eat on time. But eh, through the practice, I noticed that when I'm trying to avoid, so my coping mechanism is escape avoidance. So the moments when I try to avoid confronting a certain task, maybe, or confronting that reality wherein, oh, maybe I'd like to explore or do something different, I was stuck in that zone. But no, I have to be on track. So that practice allowed me to have a wider perspective of life and to view the world in a to be much kinder, that people would not judge me. Well, people may have expectations, like especially say my parents, and especially coming from an Asian culture, we would really listen and have this high regard to what they say, and of course we want to be able to please them. But at that point, I'm thankful that it really just started with checking in with myself first. Okay, how was I feeling in my body? Maybe was there certain tension like in the chest area, or maybe by the throat area? So things like that. And then there I realized that it was something I had to communicate, or that I was encouraged rather to communicate. And when I was able to say my piece, then my parents understood and they gave me that freedom, or that go signal to explore different things. And that they saw me, that I was happy in what I'm doing. So that transition, so it began with a practice, personal practice. And then what pushed me to share it to other people is also my advocacy for the youth. So I'm an only child, and I feel that's why I have my heart is pretty close to the young ones. Like maybe deep inside, like I'm missing that part where I'm able to play with siblings. So I went with my cousin to a kids yoga session, and that's where I saw that, oh, yoga isn't all about stretching and exercise alone, but the discipline in it, and it could be fun. So I think it's something that I forgot to do along the way during college and even in graduate studies. It's something that, oh, I was too serious about life that I forgot to have fun. So with that kids yoga session, that was the turning point rather, that led that inspiration to, oh, why don't I also share this practice to other people? And that led me to teach it to adults as well. Because, oh, if I'm teaching young ones, that's more of the foundation. Why not also capture the adults who are also wanting or maybe looking for that space where they can connect to their inner child and nurture their inner child? So that's where it began. And that after that, I formed Moment to Moment. So Moment to Moment is really encouraging people to that phrase, no, that tagline is serves as a reminder for people to, and for even for myself, to take each day one day at a time. That life may get overwhelming. Life is because before I would label myself as an optimistic person, but I felt that maybe to a certain extent it was toxic positivity in a way that I felt that, oh no, I need to be happy, or it's a sin to be it's a sin to be sad, especially in our culture here in the Philippines, where we're really happy people. That when we see someone frowning a little bit or maybe with a neutral face, we have this automatic response to tell them, oh, what's maybe like what's wrong, or we suddenly ask, oh, be happy, or we tell them, oh yeah, be happy, smile, or don't cry. And it's what I've realized in the meditation practice, to see feelings or feelings as signals that they are not actually, well, they can get overwhelming, but seeing them, once we're able to label them and maybe hold them gently in our hands and looking at these emotions face to face and seeing them as gentle visitors coming in and sitting with them for a while. And in that space of allowing ourselves to feel those feelings, then slowly, with the phrase, this too shall pass. So it does pass after, they do pass after a while rather. So yeah, it's how it has been. And I would admit that until this point, I would say that there are moments that I still forget to practice that daily meditation. So it's something that I'm also working on together with the team and my coaches as well.
Wow, Kimberly, so many things. I have so many questions. I will try to do it in an
Mm.
orderly way.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's track back a bit. You
Mm-hmm.
talked about that you suddenly remembered that it's important to have fun. And we
Mm.
know that play and fun is so crucial to our health. I think not most, a lot of grown-ups forgot about how important fun is. We're all busy, we're all goal-oriented, we all know what we need to achieve and do, and we are all frustrated that we don't. Fun is not on, usually it's not on the calendar.
Mm.
And on the other hand, meditation and mindfulness, when you look at people meditating and mindful, like they're so serious. It looks like everything is so quiet and serious, and we observe and we go deep, and that's also very very powerful. And how do you connect these like two in a way extremes of being mindful,
Mm.
just observe, don't react. Emotions are there to be, like you said, to be a guide, like they guide
Mm.
us. They're not the reason, they're not the purpose. And on the other hand, have fun, just have fun. It's so important. How that
Mm.
how do you connect these two?
Yeah, so I would say that it really varies per person, but maybe the first step would be to check in with oneself. Oh, and to be honest, so maybe like doing some sort of mind dump wherein they're able to write down, okay, in this point of my life, what brings me joy? Or maybe in my daily routine, what is something that I may integrate a mindful minute in. So, and what's interesting also about the mindfulness meditation practice is that, yes, there's a moment wherein we sit down and zone in the breath. And at the same time, it can also be taken as looking into, okay, what, man, when I wake up first thing in the morning, or maybe when I'm washing the dishes, how can I do this in a mindful manner? Or maybe observing how the water is flowing and how the soap bubbles up. So these tiny details and just really being aware of them. But of course, it's easier said than done. But it's really taking that intentional pause to, okay, for this particular task, today I'll explore doing it mindfully. However, the trade off for that is it may take a longer time. So let's say in mindful eating and observing the colors of a certain meal and how crunchy maybe the fried chicken is, and observing each bite, that may take long, especially if we live in a jam-packed schedule we're in. Oh, eating time only has to be limited to this. So I feel that it will have to begin with that gentle choices. So with those gentle choices rather. So but it doesn't have to be a grand one outright. So it's
Give
something that we
us,
encourage our teammates as well to, okay, let's take a look at it one aspect at a time. It doesn't have to be an entire plunge. And then that way we're able to enjoy life as it is. Because when
Kimberly.
I was
So
starting out, if I may share in my meditation journey, I
I,
was
I
telling my
want, I want
mentor,
you,
oh,
you know,
yes, sorry, sorry.
I want you to share it. I really want you to share it, but
Yes, yes.
I would love to get from you, like,
Mm,
give me like a specific example. How would
yes.
you do it? Okay, so now
Mm,
I heard about mindfulness. I heard how
yes, yes.
wonderful it is. I want to start tomorrow. Okay, I want to start.
Mm,
What should I do tomorrow? How should I do it? What should I do the day after? How do I
mm,
cultivate this habit to something that is more than eating 2 bites mindfulness mindfully, then forget about it. And in a year, hear again that mindfulness is powerful. What should I do
yes, yes.
tomorrow and the day after?
And all right. So I I would offer a practice of beginning with the breath. So I have a personally I have a bias towards the breath because the breath is a tool that wherever we go, we have it with us. So let's say the next level would maybe be a pen and a paper or like having that opportunity to jot it down. But really starting off with breath work. So
Okay,
just
let's do it. What should I
connecting.
do?
Yes. Yeah,
Let's do it.
yes, yes. So
Let's do it.
yeah, so I'll invite you to just roll your shoulders, maybe forward, up and back.
Okay.
And then as you sit down comfortably, maybe placing your hands on top of your lap, palms facing up to signal that sense of openness. Or maybe if for today you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you can have your palms facing down, having that stance of groundedness and rootedness. And at this point, you may choose to just keep your eyes open, looking or fixing your gaze at a certain point, or maybe closing your eyes half masked, or closing your eyes altogether. And at this point, we'll just do 1 minute or maybe a few seconds of connecting to the breath by breathing in for 4 counts, pausing just for a bit, and then exhaling for 4 counts. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you do this at your own counting of 1 to 4, we recognize and we acknowledge that we all have our own pacing. And all that matters is that it's interesting how the breath work is something that we share together. It is something that no one had to teach us. Once we were born, it's something that we already know automatically. And even when we're asleep, we do it unknowingly. And yet, when we zone into our breath, we're able to shift into a parasympathetic mode wherein we're in that rest and relaxation state. And it automatically signals to the body that, okay, things are all right, even just for this moment, even just for this minute. And that gives us space within us to have fun and have that clearer mindset. So, what's interesting about the breath is we can insert a few techniques along the way. Maybe, like in kids' yoga, we would call it sometimes like an elevator breath. Or maybe if I may pull out a tool with me here, this is one of my favorite tools. So we call it a breath ball. So it looks like an atom, and we just really invite kids to, okay, breathe in and then breathing out, allowing your belly to expand, and it's opening up. So repeating that,
Kimberly,
yeah, and
that's
having
wonderful.
that imaginative state.
That's wonderful. And just before we will conclude the interview, the next question,
Mhm.
it was really powerful and great to stop whatever I do and just breathe for a short while. It, it certainly changed my physiology and also my emotions. But
Mhm.
tomorrow, I don't remember to do it or I don't do it. And how do I make it a habit?
Mhm. So I like what you've mentioned also earlier of including it somehow in our schedules. So that fun time. So I think in starting out this commitment of maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute of just doing the breath work, it would be helpful to write it down. So in our daily schedule, just plotting it out. Maybe 1 or 3 times a day spread out. So whatever works. Some people prefer it in the morning when they wake up. Some people, whenever maybe they feel a little bit uneasy, then maybe they place a post-it or maybe a digital note. Okay, breathe. So just that simple word. And maybe before sleeping as well, and partnering it up maybe with a gratitude practice of just one affirmation, a little something that they'd like to celebrate for that day. And maybe for an extra step, if it's something that they're open to, especially in this pandemic currently, it would be nice to be able to reach out to other people and to create some sort of accountability group. Or maybe it can be just one buddy, or maybe logging it down. But again, when we log this without any expectation, so being kind to ourselves, because starting it out will really be a challenge. But what we're trying to do now is just to start really, really tiny, not even saying small, because yes, it just has to be that speck. And then bit by bit, it's something that the body maybe will look for, or it's something that will be eventually a bit of a smoother technique that comes in.
Kimberly, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
That was a
you.
really great interview. It was insightful and practical. And I feel that we
Mm.
got real tools that I can start using today. So thank you very, very much for your time,
Thank you,
experience,
Ziv.
and great energy. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.